Imagine being in the cockpit of a fighter jet, thousands of feet in the air, flying deep inside hostile territory. You are directly above the capital city of your nation's greatest adversary. Below you is a sprawling metropolis of over 8 million people and some of the most heavily fortified, lethal air defense networks on the planet. What do? If you're the pilot in the video that just broke the internet, you pull out a camera, look into the lens, and calmly record a message for the folks back home. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are breaking down a viral piece of footage that has sent shockwaves through the Pentagon, the Middle East, and the world. An Israeli Air Force pilot has filmed himself flying directly over the Iranian capital, Tehran. In a video circulating wildly across social media, the pilot is seen calmly recording himself from the cockpit. No alarms blaring, no evasive maneuvers, just a steady flight through airspace that was supposed to be a fortress. But this video isn't just a bizarre social media flex. It is the centerpiece of a massive, multi-tiered military operation. As we speak, fighting between Iran, Israel, and U.S. forces has entered its second brutal week. And the footage of this pilot was just the prelude to one of the largest aerial bombardments the Middle East has seen in modern history, an 80-jet armada striking the heart of the Islamic Republic. Today, we're going to look at the translation of this chilling video, how Israeli jets completely blinded Iran's S-300 and domestic air defense systems using advanced electronic warfare, and what this direct clash means for the United States. If you want to understand the modern battlefield, hit that subscribe button and let's dive in. Let's start with the video itself. The psychological impact of this footage cannot be overstated. In the video, the pilot addresses the citizens of Israel in Hebrew. His demeanor is striking. He isn't shouting over the roar of combat. He is calm, collected, and speaking as if he's on a routine commercial flight. According to translations of the footage, the pilot states that he and his fellow Israeli Air Force aviators are currently flying over the Iranian capital, Tehran, en route to attack what he describes as historic targets. He looks into the camera and says, "We are in the midst of a campaign aimed at maintaining an existential threat to our country. We will reach every place, every enemy for our country, for the security of our communities." He then goes on to pledge that the Israeli military will fight as long as necessary, around the clock. But the most surreal moment comes at the end. While hovering over the capital of a nation actively firing at his country, he casually wishes the citizens of Israel a safe and peaceful Sabbath, signing off with the words, "We will meet at home." For an American audience, it's hard to contextualize the sheer audacity of this. Imagine during the height of the Cold War, an American SR-71 pilot recording a casual weekend greeting for the American public while doing barrel rolls over Moscow. But why release this? Why risk operational security to post a video? The answer is psychological warfare, or psyops. In modern warfare, the battle for the mind is just as important as the physical battlefield. By releasing this video, Israel is sending a two-pronged message. To the Israeli public, it's a message of absolute technological and military supremacy, a morale booster assuring them that their military can reach out and touch the enemy at will. But to Tehran, the message is devastating. It tells the Iranian leadership, your billions of dollars spent on air defense are useless. We are in your skies, we are watching you, and we can do this whenever we want. Which brings us to the most terrifying question for the Iranian military. How on earth did he get there without being shot down? Tehran is not defenseless. In fact, on paper, it is a fortress. For years, Iran has been building up a formidable air defense network. They operate the highly capable Russian-made S-300 surface-to-air missile system, which is designed specifically to track and destroy multiple aircraft and cruise missiles at long ranges. In addition to the Russian hardware, Iran has heavily invested in its domestically produced Bavar 373 complex. The Iranians have often boasted that the Bavar 373 is equal to or even superior to the S-300. These systems utilize overlapping radar networks meant to detect any foreign aircraft hundreds of miles before they even reach the city limits of Tehran. Yet, this Israeli pilot flew right through them. No resistance, no missiles fired in his direction. Military analysts looking at this viral video are pointing to one major conclusion. Israel's electronic warfare, or EW, capabilities have completely undermined and disabled Iran's early warning networks. For those unfamiliar, electronic warfare doesn't use explosives. It uses the electromagnetic spectrum to confuse, blind, or fry enemy radar. Imagine you are in a pitch-black room using a flashlight to find an intruder. That flashlight is Iran's radar. Suddenly, the intruder shines a massive, million-lumen stadium light directly into your eyes. Not only can you no longer see the intruder, but you can't see anything else in the room. That is what Israeli EW platforms do to air defense radars. By using localized jamming, cyber intrusions, and stealth technology, likely utilizing their customized F-35 Adir fighter jets, the Israeli Air Force essentially created a blind spot in the Iranian sky. They hacked the airspace. The pilot in the video wasn't just flying, he was flying inside a bubble of electronic invisibility. This total failure of the S-300 and Bavar 373 systems is a massive wake-up call not just for Iran, but for other nations relying on these systems, and it's a goldmine of intelligence for the United States military, who closely monitors how these Russian-designed systems perform in real-world combat.
But the viral video of the pilot was just the opening act. The man in the cockpit promised that they were on their way to attack historic targets. He wasn't exaggerating. As the fighting between Iran, Israel, and U.S. forces enters its second week, the scale of the conflict has exploded. Following the pilot's video, the Israeli Air Force launched a staggering large-scale wave of airstrikes on military infrastructure in and around the Iranian capital. Reports indicate that more than 80 fighter jets participated in this operation. 80 jets. To put that into perspective for our U.S. audience, a strike package of 80 aircraft is immense. It requires mid-air refueling tankers, airborne early warning and control planes, electronic jammers, and strike fighters, all operating in perfect synchronization. It is the kind of massive, complex aerial armada we haven't seen since the United States launched Operation Desert Storm. And they brought the hammer down. Overnight, large explosions rocked several districts across Tehran. Thick black smoke could be seen rising into the dawn sky as the bombardments intensified. But what were they hitting? This wasn't indiscriminate bombing. The 80-jet armada was executing a surgical, high-stakes mission targeting the backbone of Iran's military apparatus. According to reports, the targets included major missile storage sites. These are the very facilities housing the ballistic missiles that have been used to threaten Israel and U.S. assets in the region. By taking out the storage sites, Israel is actively degrading Iran's ability to wage a long-term war. Furthermore, they struck key command facilities, the nervous system of the Iranian military. But perhaps the most significant target was an Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC, training university. The IRGC is the elite, hardline branch of Iran's armed forces, responsible for their foreign operations, their missile programs, and the backing of proxy militias across the Middle East. By striking a training university, the Israeli Air Force is not just destroying buildings, they are targeting the next generation of IRGC leadership and technical experts. Now, you might be asking, where does the United States fit into all of this? The prompt for this escalation specifically notes that fighting has entered its second week between Iran, Israel, and U.S. forces. For the American public, this is where the story shifts from a foreign conflict to a direct national security concern. The U.S. has tens of thousands of troops stationed across the Middle East, in Iraq, Syria, Jordan, and the Persian Gulf. American warships and aircraft carrier strike groups are currently sitting off the coast, providing a missile defense umbrella and deterring broader aggression. Because of the close alliance between the U.S. and Israel, Iran often views the two nations as deeply intertwined. When Israel strikes Tehran with 80 jets, Iran's retaliation might not just be aimed at Tel Aviv. It could be aimed at U.S. bases in Iraq or Syria, carried out by Iranian-backed militias. Furthermore, the U.S. military is deeply integrated into the defense of Israel. American forces have actively participated in shooting down Iranian drones and missiles in previous exchanges. This means American servicemen and women are actively in the line of fire as this shadow war steps fully into the light. There's also the economic angle. An open, blazing air war over Tehran, especially one that targets infrastructure, sends massive shockwaves through global energy markets. If this conflict escalates to the point where the Strait of Hormuz is closed, a waterway where roughly 20% of the world's oil passes through, Americans will feel the impact immediately at the gas pump and in the cost of everyday goods. This is why Washington is watching this viral video and the subsequent 80-jet strike with extreme caution. On one hand, the destruction of Iranian missile sites benefits U.S. security interests. On the other hand, a cornered, embarrassed Iranian leadership might feel compelled to lash out, dragging the United States into a broader regional war. What we are witnessing right now is the evolution of modern warfare. It is a war fought with hyper-advanced electronic jamming that turns multi-million-dollar radar systems into useless metal. It is a war of massive 80-jet armadas executing precision strikes in the dead of night. But it is also a war fought on smartphones. A pilot calmly recording a Sabbath greeting in the skies of his enemy is a weapon just as potent as a laser-guided bomb. It breaks the morale of the adversary and shapes the narrative for the rest of the world to see. As the sun rises over the thick smoke in Tehran today, the ball is now in Iran's court. Their ultimate air defenses have been proven vulnerable. Their missile sites are burning, and their leadership knows that the skies above them are no longer their own. How Tehran responds to this humiliation and how the United States navigates the fallout will determine the future of the Middle East in the weeks to come. What do you guys think? Does the total failure of Iran's air defense systems change the balance of power in the Middle East? And how far do you think the U.S. should go in supporting these operations if American troops remain in the crossfire? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I always read through them. If you found this breakdown informative, please hit the like button. It really helps the channel out. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next deep dive into global geopolitics and military strategy. Until next time, stay safe, and thanks for watching.